Good day, everyone. Meteorologist Mark Muller here. It's great to have you here with me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. We have a storm system across the Great Lakes, northeast and southeast Canada that looks to ruin the weekend for many here as we continue through Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That storm system moves out early next week, and we could be looking at a massive severe weather outbreak here from the southern plains all the way to the Ohio Valley, the Midwest, and maybe eventually the Northeast. Could this actually cause problems as this storm races to the east? And I want to let you know I have my Hurricane 2024 Outlook. It will be coming out in the next week or two. Let's get into it. And just what is this entity right around April 22nd in the central and eastern Gulf of Mexico? Could this be forming into something subtropical? We'll get into all the details later on in this forecast segment. And we could be looking at two winter storms here into Canada, one part into the first part of the weekend here into Ontario and Quebec as we head throughout the weekend. And then we change our tune to the central part of Canada where we could be looking at a massive blizzard here from the eastern Rockies all the way into the central plains towards Ontario next week. So I wanted to show you this severe weather outlook on day 5, which is essentially Monday. Look at how insane this is. We already have an orange, not just the slight risk, but the enhanced risk showing up on day 5. You know this is going to be bad. Parts of central Oklahoma, south central Kansas, and north central Texas. Tornado threat running high. And then for day 6, which is next Tuesday, yeah. This is not looking good, showing up this quickly here, this far out, all the way up to Chicago, southern Wisconsin, all the way down to Arkansas. All right, so before we dive into this, I want to dive into next Monday and Tuesday here. There's that system showing up here on our GFS model. This is what's going to be that explosive severe weather situation here. There it is, 8 p.m. on Monday, the 15th, right across Oklahoma City here. Let's get a little bit of a screen side shot here with it. You can see what's going on with this system. It's got a lot going for it. Tornado threats running very high. This is going to spread to the northeast pretty quickly here. You can see into the 16th here around 8 a.m. Look at that. So that is essentially Tuesday morning, spreading severe weather up from the Mississippi River Valley up to parts of the lakes here. And that extends towards the east. So eventually we'll be getting in on the act here of the Appalachians into parts of the Ohio Valley and eventually into the northeast. It does weaken as it heads to the northeast. We'll look and see exactly how much of a punch this system behind it will, because look at this. This looks actually like reminiscent of a squall line developing here towards the 18th. So as we get toward next Thursday into Friday, we could be seeing a squall line moving through parts of the Ohio Valley. Here it is, 8 p.m. on the 18th into the northeast. All right, so if we take a look at our weather outlook here, there is that storm system moving up across the eastern lakes in the northeast, taking all that severe weather and wind with it. Yeah, we're going to be looking at this system winding up here 5 p.m. on Friday, April 12th. Look at it bombing over eastern Ontario, western Quebec, 980 millibars. This is going to produce quite a bit in the way of snowfall on the western and northwestern edge. Behind it, we're going to see that squall line moving well off to the east towards New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and then behind it, we're also going to get that wraparound rain and wind here across Ohio, the lakes, off of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario, maybe potentially some lake enhanced. And look at this as we get towards 11 p.m. on Friday evening, in particular, western New York, northwestern Pennsylvania, southern Ontario, we could be changing some wet snowflakes mixing in here. And look at that. This is 11 a.m. on Saturday morning. I think this is more elevation dependent, but if you are in upstate New York, northern Pennsylvania, say above 1,200 feet, you could see some wet snowflakes here. So we'll have to keep an eye on that here into western Quebec as well. Look at the squall line racing to the east here towards Newfoundland here. And as we continue to go in time, you can see this system pulls out to the northeast as we head to Sunday and into Monday. But look what replaces it here. Yeah, this is that system later Sunday. kicks in across the lakes in the northeast, we're just going to continue to see some showers and thunder showers here as we go in time. So things are going to remain pretty active here across the lakes and the northeast. And then we get this next system winding up here into the plains. You can see that pushing to the northeast as we head towards April 16th here. So we have a chance of some more severe weather here across the Mississippi River Valley and points eastward here as we go in time. There's a warm front pushing through the northeast. And then look at here across central Canada. That is where I'm going to talk about in my Canadian weather segment a little bit later on in the video. Look at that. That could be a major blizzard here across the plain states, of the plain provinces, I should say, of southern Canada here. And as we continue in time, that low pressure winds up across the lakes, but it has the potential to spread that blizzard-like conditions here into the northern Rockies, maybe potentially the northern plains of the U.S., but then we get another rain and thunderstorms here across parts of the lakes and the northeast, and you can see that drags a whole bunch of weather with it, potential severe weather here as we head towards April. All right, as we continue to go in time here, you can see that squall line moving into parts of the Ohio Valley and Northeast. This is April 18th. And as we continue to head east here, there's the 19th. Yeah, you get some of the indication here. We still have some cooler air in the area. There's some snow showers, wet snow, especially higher elevations, pushing through the lakes in the northeast and way up here into northeastern Canada. Another big low pressure system. And then you see another Colorado low organizing here, spreading heavy snow with it. But this time, this one's heading a little bit further to the south here. Maybe some severe weather for Texas and maybe a plains blizzard here. Early spring blizzard. You can see that energy dives to the south, though. So towards the third week of April, we could be looking at a severe weather outbreak here. And look at this up here in the northeast. Snow showers mixing in with some of the rain showers there, even into upstate New York. That's, wow, April 22nd. It's been known to happen, but look at this feature out here in the central Gulf of Mexico. We could be looking at something interesting developing here. A major low pressure system. Could this actually go subtropical here right around April 22nd? We'll have to keep an eye on it here as it spreads towards Florida and the northern Bahamas there on our last frame. And then look at that, high pressure finally starting to build in across much of North America. All right, so let's take a look at the European models. We head through Friday. Thursday night into Friday, that low moving into the Great Lakes, into southeast Canada, stretching that squall line here into parts of New York City eastward here. So early morning, you might wake up to some thunder, lightning, and some wind. Look at this low pressure system really winding up. Yeah, we could be looking at some wet snowflakes mixing in, especially the higher elevations as this low pressure winds up, especially southeast Canada. That's where we're going to really see, some wet snow on the backside of this. Now look at this into the 13th, we get into Saturday night here. This low starts to move up towards the northeast, but look what starts to form behind it. The same thing on the GFS. Showers and thunder showers just in time for Sunday afternoon across New York, Pennsylvania, and parts of northeastern Ohio. Nothing severe, but it is an interesting feature that does flare up, and it does develop up towards Newfoundland around April 16th. Now, look what's forming out here into the Central Plains. Yeah, this is a big old low pressure system that's going to be heading up to the north. That's going to produce our northern plains and especially south central Canadian blizzard here. That moves up to the east. We got to watch out next week for a potential severe weather outbreak as we head towards early to middle part of the week through April 17th and 18th. And there it is, pushing off the coast, trying to go coastal on us here into the Gulf of Maine as we head through April 18th here, so right around next Thursday. And then another storm system diving further south here across the southern plains. We could be looking at some severe weather across parts of Texas, Arkansas, and Oklahoma here. So watch out for that. Northern side of this could be heavy wet snow, and this starts to barrel across the south as we head towards the third week of April here. And this might actually try to make a run for the mid-Atlantic region with some heavy rain and wind as we have a high pressure kind of protecting parts of the northeast as we head into the first part of the third week of April. All right, stormy time of it as we head into Thursday night. Look at all this convection across the Northeast. This is your HRRR future radar, by the way. Yeah, the Mid-Atlantic, the Northeast, the Eastern Great Lakes, we're looking at a massive stormy surge of tropical moisture here on the east side of the system. And yeah, we're going to be looking at a lot of heavy rain and thunder showers overnight. Here's 3 a.m. So yeah, here's midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Look at that convective line moving through the Catskills, Poconos, east of Interstate 81 by this point, and then into the Capital District of New York out towards Long Island. And we still will be seeing convection right around sunrise as we head towards the I-81 corridor. Here's 8 a.m. Look at this interesting feature. There could be some wet snowflakes mixing in north of Lake Erie here, but look at this here across eastern Pennsylvania, upstate New York. We could be looking at some more convection firing here on the east side of this low pressure system. And look at this, another squall line trying to develop. This is towards noon, so we will have some convection here. Look at this convection out towards Cape Cod too. So there's going to be two areas to definitely watch out here. Cape Cod might be getting clipped there, and then eastern New York. New England, you're going to have to watch out for this squall line come Friday afternoon. All right, so we're going to continue the squall line. Look at here as we continue to go out here in time, 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m. Look at the Capital District of upstate New York. That moves to the northeast. On the backside here, we're starting to see convection fire here in the Appalachians, eastern parts of Ohio, western New York, western Pennsylvania. This is towards 8 p.m. Let me just zoom out a little bit. Wow, look at this. I'm going to turn on the winter radar here momentarily with this system, but you can see here on the backside of this low pressure, a full-blown blizzard going here into parts of Ontario. Convection all the way into eastern part of Quebec here, central Quebec. And as we continue to go in time, the backside of this low pressure pivots into upstate New York, into eastern Pennsylvania, and that solidifies. You can see another surge of moisture here towards New Brunswick and Nova Scotia towards 2 p.m. on Saturday. All right, so let's take a look at our winter radar with this. You can see we go all the way through. This is Friday morning at 9 a.m. There it is. It still hasn't turned completely over to snow here. Parts of Ontario it is. We have to go into, this is 11 p.m. Saturday. Here it is. We start to see some wet snowflakes in the highlands of western, southwestern upstate New York. There it is. And into, there it is, western parts of Quebec and eastern Ontario here. So this is where we start to see the wet snow kick in here on the backside. It's going to be a stretch because it's mainly going to be higher elevations here, southeast of Buffalo, south of Syracuse here. And here it is, 5 a.m. Saturday morning. And then there it is. Yeah, you can see the mesoscale model doing a very good job here at painting what is going to be a elevation wet snow event here. So that's kind of interesting, especially up here in the parts of Ontario and Quebec. All right, so if we take a look at the European run here on our precipitation, heavy rain continuing here across the Ohio Valley eastward to the northeast into southeast Canada. At least through this weekend. So yeah, we're going to add more insult to injury here. We're looking at a solid, 3/4 to 1.5 inches, with these red areas getting upwards closer to 2 to 2.5 inches. Now, as we continue through the rest of next week, yeah, we're just going to pile on pretty much the same areas you can see here into the Great Lakes, the Northeast, parts of the Appalachians, and Southeast Canada. Over the next week and a half, we're going to be looking at 2.5 upwards of close to 4 inches. All right, so let's take a look at the GFS here. Liquid equivalent precipitation, pretty much on target with the European model as we head through the weekend, and then adding on more to that as we head through April 20th and 21st. Look at that. Yeah, it's just going to be really bad here. We're going to just target the bullseye here across the lakes into the northeast and southeast Canada. All right, so let's take a look at our snowfall here. Yeah, we got a little blip there in northwestern Pennsylvania, southwestern New York, parts of the Adirondacks. They're up there into parts of Ontario and Quebec. I'll be going over that with your Canadian Outlook a little bit later on in this forecast segment. And there's that big blizzard up there across south central Canada as we get into later next week. All right, so our upper air pattern here, we'll start off with the European model. There's that trough just in time for Saturday. You knew it was coming, kicking out a little bit, but it does stay unsettled here into the northeast. So we're going to see that ridge forming just behind it. By Wednesday of next week, April 17th, that ridge bubbling across the east here. But then look at that. The west coast really starts to get stormy, and we also get pretty stormy up here into parts of northeast Canada. The northeast part of the continent through Sunday, April 21st, but lots of ridging here across the east. Now, if we want to continue that, the third week of April here, look what starts to happen. Yeah, there's a big trough that really starts to kick in across the east. That fades pretty quickly, though. It does try to hold on a little bit, so we could be seeing some stormy conditions along the east coast into the early part of May. Yeah, it looks like May could be opening ourselves up here for some coastal systems. I hate to say it, but there it is. We're really going to start to make things a bit more stormy here. And then as we head through the second week of May, big ridging here into western North America. And Eric Rentschler from Lebanon County, Pennsylvania, April 8th eclipse. Look at this. Nice captures here. There were some high clouds moving across the region, but that did not get him to stop from snapping some good photos here of the eclipse. You can see here's the first one, and there's the second one. You can see, look at that. Very nicely captured there. Not in the total path of totality here, but very close. So this was a nice capture here. Nice job there, Derek. And Robert Stone from the Jamestown, New York area, catching that solar eclipse on April 8th. Look at that. He had some nice filtering clouds to really capture that really nicely there. So wow, look at that. Just nicely done there, Robert. Many of you across New York State did not have the same luck. The clouds actually got too thick, but very, very, very nice captures there, Robert. As you can see, there were darker clouds around it. The lighter clouds kind of obscured it a little bit, but you can see as we go in time there, look at that. Just nicely captured there. Some dark clouds rolled over it. You still got to see the outline of that sun there. And he captured a nice shot of it here on the photo. Here it is shining through the clouds. You can see some of the darker clouds trying to cover it up here. There was some pretty thick clouds here coming through New York State, but he did get lucky as this eclipse was occurring. He got quite a few breaks here in the clouds, and day practically turning into night here. Look at all the street lights just popping on there in the Jamestown area. This is crazy that it looks like nighttime or evening right in the middle of the day during that solar total eclipse. And here's some of his nice photos that he is able to capture in between video shots of this solar eclipse. Very nice captures here, Robert, from the Jamestown, New York area. And here we go, John, from April 8th, the solar eclipse. From Tom Chattelbash Station here, you can see the bright sun dimming pretty quickly across the area. Come mid-afternoon, you can see it there. And as that sun continued to be blocked by the moon, it really started to get that dim appearance. Nice captures there, John. All right, so for our Canadian weather outlook here, let's take a look. We'll take you through the next couple weeks here. There's that system bombing here into Ontario and Quebec. Yeah, there it is. Big time snows on the backside of this into eastern Ontario and western Quebec. That's going to continue towards the northeast as we head towards April 14th and 15th. Another feature here, spreading some scattered snow showers. We do ramp up some snow out here into the mountains of western Canada. And look at this. As we continue in time, we're going to keep a very active weather pattern. This is that system I wanted to talk to you about right around April 17th here. That's that system across the northern plains of the U.S. that's going to be spreading a potential blizzard here across the eastern part of the Rocky Mountains and the central plain states here, spreading all the way into western Ontario. This is towards April 17th. You can see that low pressure bringing that snowfall just behind it here into much of Ontario and eventually western Quebec here. But look at this. This could be a big monster snowstorm, dropping the potential for 15 to 30 centimeters with locally higher, closer to 40 centimeters in some of these areas that get the more persistent heavy snow. But look at this. Towards April 19th, This is Quebec. Much of Quebec could be entrenched in a massive snowstorm here as we continue to go out here in time. High pressure building in behind this system as it spreads to the northeast. But look at this, another system forming behind it here into southern Ontario and Quebec, keeping things very active and cool here, even at the far southeastern provinces of Canada. And then another system forming out here into northwestern Canada, bringing more snow along with it and valley rain. So there it is, broad area of low pressure as we continue through April 23rd. We are looking for a very stormy time of it here, no matter what part of Canada you are in. All right, so our winter storm outlook for Canada here. Let's take a look and see what we got going on. Actually, let's zoom to the latest run here. Yeah, we're still going to be seeing some snow here along the west coast of Canada, the mountainous areas, and then here into parts of eastern Ontario and northern Quebec here, western Quebec. That could be a thing here as we go through the weekend on the backside of the system. So maybe upwards of 15, 25 centimeters of snow. And look at there, the central plains and eastern Rockies of Canada. We could be piling up as high as 20 to maybe in some of these orangish areas closer to 50 to 60 centimeters. That's actually pretty good news for you here. It looks like a full-blown blizzard as we get towards the end of next week. And look at that, that piles on more snow. So the same areas are going to continue to see, this heavy snow. There it is into parts of eastern Canada, central Canada, and here in the mountains of southwestern Canada. All right, and if you want to take a look at total liquid equivalent precipitation, yeah, eastern Ontario and Quebec, this could be quite interesting here. We're going to look upwards of a tremendous amount of moisture here, 50, 60, 70 millimeters here, essentially. This is in millimeters, I believe, yes. And there it is. Yep, millimeters. And as we continue in time, look at Southeast Canada here. This is what I wanted to show you as we head through the rest of April. Look at this. This is actually really good news in the fact that these are the same areas that saw all the wildfires last summer. And look at this here in the midsection as well. That is really, really good news. All right, so let's take a look at the tropics here. It's going to be a little bit active, especially Central America around Belize here, Honduras, the Yucatan Peninsula. We have a stalled out frontal boundary from the East Coast that will just continue to be the focal point of showers. Also a stalled out area of interest here from Hispaniola over to Puerto Rico and the Lesser Antilles. So we're going to continue to watch this. Scattered showers even towards Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, Puerto Rico, as we head towards Belize, as we head through Friday into Saturday and the weekend. Look at these showers continuing here across the area, eastern part of Jamaica, Hispaniola, Belize here down and through parts of the Lesser Antilles as well. So we'll continue to watch high pressure build across the Eastern Gulf and the Bahamas, except for the Turks and Caicos here. You could get hit with some showers and thunder showers here around the 14th. But look at this. Another feature spreading towards the Lesser Antilles and then Puerto Rico. Some of this looks actually like a tropical wave. And then we funnel the moisture southwestward here towards Honduras and even the Cayman Islands. So watch this as we continue in time. This looks very reminiscent of a tropical feature, an early tropical one. Not looking at any development out of this. It's way too early, but that is pretty interesting that we're going to see, some very heavy rain around it. And look at here into South America. Sometimes you can get some waves that move off Colombia here into the Southern Caribbean. It is early, but we'll keep an eye on it. I am working on my hurricane outlook for 2024, and it looks like a very active one. I'll be releasing that very shortly in the next couple weeks here, so watch out for that. But yeah, it looks like the tropics do start to get more stormier. This is towards April 20th. Look at the showers and thunder showers really taking over much of the Caribbean islands here. By this point, Central America looks a little quieter. All right, so for the tropics here, what is going on? It's kind of quiet. This is good news. As we continue through time, Belize there is the bullseye. With a little bit of a disturbance there as we go through the first part of next week. It looks like that area turns to, you can almost sense that there's a little bit of a stalled frontal boundary in this area, stirring up trouble here in Central America, Hispaniola, and Puerto Rico. Look at this. These areas could see upwards of 50 to 100 millimeters of rainfall. We could be looking at a solid 1.5 to 3 inches. And as we head to the Eastern Caribbean, Bahamas region, look at this. Yeah, more disturbances here riding through the Northern Lesser Antilles, Puerto Rico. And there it is. Yeah, you kind of get the indication here. This is the zone we're going to have to watch out for. 50 to 100 millimeters of rainfall here through the 3rd week of April. So we'll just continue with that. Southeastern Bahamas here near the Turks and Caicos, yeah, you could be looking upwards of 30 to 50 millimeters here. Anywhere from about, say, a 3/4 of an inch to 1 1/4 inches. I got plenty more weather for you in just a moment, but take a look at my affiliate. Do you want some awesome maps? Check this out.
I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning, digital, professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code, MeteoMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than TrilogyMaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code.
All right, so temperature-wise here, things are going to be a little bit of a cool down here in the Ohio Valley, 50s for highs as wind really starts to kick up here. Holding on to 60s in the northeast. Look at the plains, though, into the 70s and even some 80s. And look at this. Do I dare say it? Some 90. There we go in southwestern Kansas. Look at the northeast, though. You know it's the weekend. You know what it's time for? 40s and lower 50s and wind and rain. That's what you're going to get, unfortunately, across much of the northeast here. And as we head through Sunday, we do see a warming trend. Look at this. Look at this warmth here spreading to the east, 70s, 90s here in the midsection. It almost looks like we're reminiscing back to last summer where we had that mega heat ridge build in. But look at this. Yeah. Even mid to upper 80s here in the Carolinas, here into the plains, western Texas getting into the 90s, still holding on to 60s and upper 50s here across the lakes in the northeast, but that's going to quickly get replaced by lots of 70s here. Look at that. Big bubble of 70s, April 16th here, Tuesday. And then into Wednesday, April 17th, look at this. Surge of warm air into the east. Some areas could be eclipsing near 80 degrees here. Extended outlook from hometown viewers, Binghamton to Scranton, Susquehanna River Valley, New York, and Pennsylvania. We're going to see rain and maybe a clap of thunder, lightning early Friday morning, but mostly rain throughout the day, up to a 1/2 inch into Saturday. Showers continuing. The big story is going to be the wind gusts, 30 to 40 mile per hour wind gusts possible both Friday and Saturday. As that storm departs into Sunday, we'll see another system moving in for Sunday, a little bit more instability with, the backside of that low pressure system. So a little bit of a trough hanging around, a little bit warmer though than Saturday. Look at that, 64, 68, and 77 for Tuesday with the warming trend, sunny skies. As always, thank you for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. Also, don't forget to join me on Facebook at MeteoMark, also Weather Northeastern, also Twitter at Weather Eastern. Don't forget it's MeteoMark.com, and don't forget, if you want to send me a coffee, there is a link, Super Thanks. You can smash that Super Thanks button or my PayPal link in the description down below. You can buy me a cup of coffee. Thanks, everyone. Share that video. Subscribe if you haven't. Smash that like button.